We're starting with wet skin, obviously because I wet my face because I washed it. I do still use my kale green tea vitamin superfood cleanser, you know, this good stuff right here. This is really, really gentle on the skin, so I love to use this. It's a staple in my routine at this point. But I did use that to wash my face. My face is still a little damp. I did not take a towel to dry it, and purposely because I'm going to go in with some hydration. This is the e.l.f. skincare line, or e.l.f. Skin as they call themselves. This is the Holy Hydration Triple Bounce Serum. So it has 1.7% multi-weight hyaluronic acid, and I just like to take a pump of this and just like disperse it on my skin just to give nice hydration. As you guys know, when using hyaluronic acid, if you don't know, you should be using it, you know, on damp skin, not dry skin, because obviously that's what it works best with. I don't know all the specifics on the top of my head right now, but yeah, just take my word for that. That is true. Of course, you can do your own research and stuff on the side if you wish, but that is a fact. Usually I do apply an eye cream after this, but I did not bring one in here, unfortunately, and I'm too lazy to get up and go get it, so we are going to skip that. But typically I do use an eye cream, I promise you. Next I go in with my moisturizer. I'm still using the Summer Fridays Cloud Dew Oil-Free Moisturizer. Really love this stuff. You don't need a lot, so I just like take my nail, dip into the product, and just kind of disperse it in these 4 areas, and then just rub this into the skin just for a nice layer of hydration. This is just very hydrating on the skin, as you guys can tell. Just adding extra like moisture, hydration, all that good stuff, locking, you know, the serum in that we put. By the way, I do not use any other serum during the day. I'm not a vitamin C kind of girl, technically, and I'll tell you why in a second, why I say technically. But most importantly, vitamin C is like a product that I just have so much trouble with finding something that like really works for my skin and doesn't like irritate it, I guess. So yeah, as I was saying about the vitamin C, I do not use a specific vitamin C serum. However, sometimes I do use this spray from Fresh. So this is the Vitamin Nectar Antioxidant Glow Water, and I just like to spritz this on my face. It's a very, very fine like mist. I don't know if you guys could see that. It's just very, very fine. Much like the Tatcha Dewy Skin Mist, the spritzer on it is very comparable to that because it almost feels like nothing. And that's exactly how this feels, but it gives your face like an instant glow, an instant boost of hydration, and it's also protecting it, but it does have some form of vitamin C within the formula, and this is the only thing that I use. So I do like to spray this. That's good. And the mist, again, is just very fine. It's easy to go overboard with it, honestly. And it's just kind of let that seep and sink into the skin. But our skin is just looking so supple and just very glowy and dewy, but healthy and radiant at the same time, which I love. So I'm going to close up this moisturizer. I also have my morning coffee. I made me some whipped coffee this morning. Yeah, it came out alright. A little strong. Now we're going to move into SPF. So I have been using the Beauty of Hosan SPF 50, which is a wonderful product, okay? Glow for sure. So if you don't really like a glowy sunscreen or products in general, then I would steer away from this. But other than that, really great product. No white cast, blends into the skin beautifully, and you know, keeps the skin protected, which we love as well. And I do run it over my lips as well because, you know, you need SPF on all parts of your face and also your neck too. Do not forget the neck. Oftentimes I like to mix my SPF with this JLo Beauty. This is the complexion booster, so kind of like a golden glow. And I like to mix the two together more times than not, but sometimes I just wear the SPF alone. I wanted to use it today on camera with you guys alone by itself before applying this, just because I really wanted you guys to see how nicely the SPF does blend into the skin, and you don't see it. So now that I have that applied, I am going to put a little bit of this on. I don't use too much of this product, probably why I've had it for a good little minute, but I use literally like a dot. You guys see that? Like a pea-sized amount. And I just take it in my hands. Well, again, sometimes I mix it into the SPF. So there's that. But the times that I do apply it after the fact, I just apply it in the 4 areas. Same kind of like technique that I do with my moisturizer. And then I'll wipe off the excess and then use my fingers to just like rub it in. But this just kind of gives me like a nice golden kind of a glow to my skin a little bit. Not too much, but just a little bit, to where like it makes a difference to me at least. So I just like to rub this in. I don't go on my eyelids with it though. So that's all I do for skincare in the morning. Just a very simple routine just to get me going, protected, and out the door I go. If I'm not wearing makeup, of course. The last product, because obviously I have to apply something on the lips, I like to use this from e.l.f. Skin. I cannot remember for the life of me if I shared this with you guys, but you guys know I am obsessed with the Laneige lip sleeping mask. I'm now obsessed with the Summer Fridays lip balm. I just have so many favorites these days. It's hard to pick and choose, but I did want to use this with you guys today. This is from e.l.f. Like I said, this is their lip mask, but I'm not using it so much as a mask, or maybe I guess as a mask, because it's just going to be on my lips as I do my makeup. And then I will probably throw on a gloss or something after. But just very like moisturizing on the skin, or the lips really. It almost has like a Vaseline kind of feel to it, to be honest. So the texture between this and the Laneige are definitely 2 different textures. Now that my brows are done and my lids are primed, I also set them to prepare them for the eyeshadow. I am going to now prep my skin with a little bit of the Tatcha Silk Canvas, just for like pores or whatever, because I think our skincare is pretty legit today. So that in itself will be helpful. You know, it's always good to take care of the skin underneath, because your makeup is only going to look just as good as the skin underneath. So I'm just using this in the T-zone area for pores really quickly, and then this can just like marinate and sink into the skin while we work on our eyeshadow. Now for eyeshadow today, I'm not trying to do anything drastic, but I will say I did have a lot of fun in my last video. If you guys haven't seen that, please go watch it. I did do like full glam, kind of like what I used to do, and it felt good, and it also looked good at the end of it. So I was actually pretty impressed with myself. So I do want to do a little something instead of just bronzer in the crease, but not do too much. So I pulled out the Beauty Creations Cali Chic palette. I really love this palette for the shimmers. Most importantly, I just think they're really beautiful. There is a small range of palettes that I own that I really love the shimmers in, and this is one of them. So this is like a go-to for me in the warmer months. And then I also pulled out the e.l.f. what is this? Quad, I guess. They're little mini bite-sized shadows. So I have this one that's in Pumpkin Pie, which is a little fall-ish, if you will, but I did want to do something a little bit more like brown. So it has like this nice warm tone brown in it, and you also have like this cooler toned brown there. I think I'm going to focus more so on the cooler tone, but I am going to grab the warmer one first. And I'm going to place this in the crease. Why couldn't I think of the name? Just a very little amount. I didn't grab too much on my brush because I just want to start small and just work my way up, because I'm not expecting it to be super intense or anything like that. Taking the cooler tone brown in the palette, just a little bit, I'm going to work this on the outer corner and just kind of flick it up and in. Not going all the way across my lid with it or anything, just for a little like color I guess. And I'm using that same brush. I don't know if I said that. Stepping into the Cali Chic palette, I'm taking Tan Lines, which is this golden shimmer right here. I could also take this one right here, this deeper one, which is also really pretty, but I don't want too deep of a look, which is why I opted for Tan Lines. And I'm just going to press this on to the lid. I'll probably go like 1/3 of the way, not 1/3, 3/4 of the way, and just press this on. So of course there's some blending that needs to happen between the shimmer and the brown. So I'm going to go back in with the brown again, and I'm using an even more smaller like brush, a little bit more detailed if you will. And I'm going to run that right where the two kind of meet so that I can start blurring the lines between the two. And it's not such a like stark difference between where they start and stop. To take things a step further, which is not absolutely necessary, you could stop here with the eyes, but to warm it up just a little bit more, you can grab like a mustard kind of yellow shade, if you will, just something very faint, and add it in the top part where we added some more of the warm tone brown. So since I have this Lottie London palette on my desk from when I filmed my last video, and I really did like this palette, so I'm gonna take this yellowish orange shade here, just a little bit of it, not too much, and I'm going to apply that up here just to warm things up a little bit more. Again, it's not necessary, but I do like the thought of it, you know, like I just feel like it's gonna brighten things up just a little bit more for us. Normally on days like today, it's quiet. Nobody's making any noise. Nobody's mowing their lawn. But for some reason, the day I decided to film, of course, they're going to be mowing their lawns. So I apologize. I'm really hoping that you guys do not hear it. But if you do, just know the show must go on. So now that we're done with the eyes for now, again, I think it turned out like pretty. It's nice and just like daytime friendly. I'm actually really liking this look. So now that we have this on, we can start with the base. I am going to start with my cream bronzer. I'm going to be using the NARS Laguna 2 is the number that I have for bronzer. Oh, here it is. And I'm going to be using my vegan series Morphe brush because I do love this for a good bronzer. And I'm just going to start tapping this in place. And because I am using not a foundation but a skin tint, I don't want to go too heavy on the bronzer, but enough for it to, you know, still pop and do what it's supposed to do. So I kind of already started, if you will, with the tinted moisturizer. I am using the one from NARS. I thought I was recording, but clearly I'm not. I am using my fingers to like initially apply this because honestly this is how I would do it any other time that I pull out this product, although this tends to kind of go before the cream contour. But I'm just rubbing this on my skin, pressing it in. I am going to go on top with like beauty tools just to further help, but this also has SPF in it. I don't know if I said that, but it's just helping to protect the skin even more, which is great. And just depending on how you apply it, I feel will depend on like the coverage that you get. I do want something a little airy to where I can breathe. I didn't want to use a foundation per se. Now I'm just tapping on top with, this is new, so it's like shedding a little bit, but my little beauty puff just to press it into the skin a little more. But I didn't use too much of the product, just like 2 pea-sized amounts is really all that I needed, because I tried to just like place it where I needed it, which is down here in the forehead T-zone area and on the sides a little bit. I'm not going underneath my eyes because I don't want to use more product than I have to. My concealer of choice today is going to be within the same brand, so I'm going to use the NARS Soft Matte Complete Concealers. I have 2 different ones here, Marron Glace and Sucre d'Orge. Sucre d'Orge is more closer to my skin tone, and it's what I use for the lids and underneath the brow. And then this one is obviously a little bit lighter. So if you don't know the backstory on that, I went into Sephora to pick up a re-up of Biscuit, ended up with this one by accident, and then went back and got this one. So I did the wrong thing twice, but it turns out that this one is, the Sucre de Orc is one that I can use, kind of like Biscuit. So I'm going to go in with this one first, and to apply I'm going to use my little, what is this, Sephora brush. So this is the number 206, it's dual-sided. I used this side already for my brows, and I'm just going to take that same side and just apply the concealer here. And I'm also going to apply it on the outer part of the eye. I don't feel like I need too much of this. And then I'm going to flip it over to the reverse side, and this is the side that I'm going to use just to kind of like tap it into the skin. You could use a sponge, or even this puff I could use, but I'm just going to use a brush just for a little bit more of a precise application. And typically it's nice to let your concealers like sit for a little bit, but because this is more of like a matte formula and it's a little thicker than like a liquid concealer, I don't find that it really makes too big of a difference if I blend it out right away or just let it sit a little bit. But that's just me personally. And I think it's actually pouring raining. Not that we necessarily need it, but I'm gonna now take a little bit of Marron Glace, which is the lighter shade, and I'm gonna place that in the inner corner of my eye only. I'm just gonna place a little bit here, just for a little bit more of a brightening effect. And you know what? I'm gonna do my lip too. And why not my nose? Clearly I can't make up my mind. I want to finish out the cream products, so I'm gonna take both blushes that I have here from e.l.f. These are the putty blushes. One is Turks and Caicos, the other one is Bahamas. I believe the lighter peachier one is Turks and Caicos. Yeah, it is. So I am gonna use these. I'm gonna mix both of them together. Because in my powder blush palette that I pulled out, it kind of has both tones in the palette, so we're gonna use both of these for cream blush. Now for application, I'm gonna use this brush right here. I believe this is the It Cosmetics brush. And I'm just gonna tap it into each product. So, well, I'm gonna use this one first, Turks and Caicos. And I'm gonna press that here on the high points of my cheek and kind of like right here by the brow, because I still enjoy doing like a little C shape right here with the blush. And then I'm gonna take some and do it to the other side. I actually used Bahamas first. Now I'm gonna go in with Turks and Caicos. And I'm gonna press my brush again into the product, kind of swirl it around because this is a little bit of a thicker formula, and then just press that on top. And just kind of blend and marry the two together. So now we have to melt all of this down and just kind of get it in a good space before we go in with powders, because of course I need to set this. I cannot just leave my face like this. I will be so oily by the end of the day if I do not set. So it's very important, and we are going to set each thing that we put on. But first I'm going to spray it down. Now to your surprise, I'm not using what you think I'm using. I'm actually going to use the Charlotte Tilbury Airbrush Flawless Setting Spray, and I'm going to melt everything. So I'm going to spray a good amount of this. My face is real wet, but just trust the process. So now we're going to set with some powder. I'm going to use this one from Laura Mercier. This is the Translucent Honey Powder. And I'm going to take that on the sponge. I don't know why I call this a sponge. This is a puff, but you guys know what I mean. And I'm just going to tap this on. I'm not going to let it sit too long, but I am going to powder all the areas that I need to powder first before I go back and just like kind of like wipe it off. And I'm using this only where I put concealer basically. So both my bronzers and blush shades are both going to come from this palette. This is the Physicians Formula Whaley palette. And I'm going to start with bronzer first, of course, just to set, you know, the bronzer and everything that we put on our skin. So I'm just going to use a mixture of the both of them and then just kind of bronze my skin up a little bit. I love this palette for warmer weather because it just gives your skin a nice radiant glow that, of course, we love. We like to glow in the warm weather. I mean, I like to glow a little bit in colder weather as well, but there's nothing like a good glow during the summer / springtime. Following suit with the powder blush, just right on top, pressing that on to set the blush down. Then the very last thing I want to do is take a little bit of my MAC Skin Finish and just press that onto the skin. It looks really good. So before I spray my face down once again, I am going to be using something different to set everything. I'm going to use a little bit of this highlighter just for like the T-zone area. I don't like too much highlight, but I do like a nice little glowy T-zone, and I might actually add it on the brow bone as well. I think that'll be a good idea. I can't remember the brand of this highlighter, to be honest. It's kind of rubbed off, but I do remember or recall getting it from like CVS or something. I don't know. Koki? I think that's the brand. Like with the bear. This might not be the best brush for this, but it works. So I do need to do the under eye area because I'm not finished with that yet. I think I am just going to quickly do that part off camera because literally I'm just bringing a couple of those shadows, like the brown shadows, on the bottom lash line. I'll coat my bottom lashes with the L'Oreal Telescopic Mascara, and I am going to be using this eyeliner in Nude from LA Girl, the Perfect Precision eyeliner. I'm going to use it in my waterline for a nude, you know, eyeliner. Duh. To open up the eyes and make it look more awake. So let's do that. Okay, so this is the look finished and complete. I did my under eyes. I added a little bit of eyeshadow, just the browns, and a little bit of that like orangey yellow shade from the Lottie London palette. And then I finished off the face with the Pretty Fresh Hyaluronic Acid Setting Mist from ColourPop. And then for the lips, no surprise, I do have on the Lawless Forget the Filler. This is in Rosy Outlook, and I have that on the lips. So that is the look complete. We've gone through everything. We even did skincare. So let me know your favorite products from today's video down in the comments down below. It could be skincare, it could be makeup, it does not matter. Let me know. Also, I would try to have all the products listed in the description, not linked, listed. Shades and everything for anyone who may have missed something or, you know, whatever the case is. But I love you guys. I appreciate you, all of you, and thank you for hanging out with me today. I enjoyed it, and I hope to see each and every one of you in the next video, whatever that may be. Makeup content, vlog, who knows, but stay tuned.